Welcome to the F1 in Schools project tutorial. My name is Phil Dolan. In this activity, we'll be opening an existing Formula One car design, modifying the front and rear wings, and modifying the body. Throughout the process, we'll keep in mind the rules of the competition, our design, and manufacturing. This is the block that we started with. I'm now going to go out and open an assembly. This is provided for you. So with that assembly open, I'm going to modify the front wing, the rear wing, and then the body. But before we do that, let's double check that the design currently meets the standards of the rules of the competition. I have an invisible block there. I've just turned on the visibility. It's the correct size as per the rules, and we can see that the body fits within that block. In this case, the wings don't matter, just the body of the car. Now, as we start to change the design, we want to keep in mind that this car has to be manufactured both by 3D printing and by a CNC machine. I've turned off the visibility of the block, and I'm going to start by editing the front wing. The wing was created by something that we call freeform, and then we can see it, so I'm going to edit that freeform. Much easier to create more interesting shapes using freeform. Let me show you how. So I'm going to click on that face, go to edit form, lots of options, defaults are fine. I'm holding down the Alt key and then dragging because I want to add material. See how easy that is? In this case, it's going to be -3. Now I want to make some more changes. I don't need to click OK. I can actually just go in, double click that edge, which selects the whole edge, and drag on it. And you'll notice that little dotted line in the middle of the wing. That's indicating symmetry. So the changes are happening on both sides of the wing. Click OK. So look how quickly I made pretty dramatic changes to that wing. Double click on the wing, edit the form. And what I want to do now is move the whole wing down. It's just a little bit high, and by checking the rules, it may not meet that rule in terms of the wing and the relationship with the front wheel. So I've lowered it down, and I want to rotate it so it's not taking up quite as much height. So the wing retains its shape, but it's a little bit lower and the angle has been tilted. Pretty easy. Let's finish that freeform edit and go back to the main assembly. The next thing we want to do is go and do the edits on the rear wing. So same process, edit, find the freeform, and edit that freeform. Again, we can see that line of symmetry. I want to add another line of symmetry, so I'm going to select a face on the top, rotate around holding down the F4, the function 4 key, and on the bottom, and you can see that second line of symmetry has now been added. To start making the edits, I want to subdivide some areas. That gives me much more control. These faces are quite large, so the changes would be a little more dramatic than I wanted. You can see that because of the lines of symmetry, the subdivide happened both top and bottom. I want to subdivide one more face. Click on OK, and you can see all of those little faces now. Let's start making the edits. Double click on that line of symmetry, edit form, and then drag. And that distance is going to be 5 millimeters. Don't need to click OK. Select the two outside faces. I'm holding down the Shift key for multiple selections. In this case, it's -0.8. So those are the edits out of freeform and back to the main assembly. You can see in just a couple of minutes how many changes I've made to both the front and rear wing. Let's look at the body of the car now. To make the body of the car, again, I used a free form. I'm turning on the visibility of that. Then I'm going to edit it. It actually started out as a flat plane, Made a number of changes to it, and we ended up with this particular shape. We're going to make a number of other changes. Double click on that edge, which selects the whole edge. I want to add material, so I hold down the Alt key and drag. It's a negative value, and it's going to be a -20. Now, some of the changes that are coming up are quite amazing. You won't be able to do this using typical procedures. Only freeform really would allow you to do this. Select those two edges, edit the form, drag it in. Look at that. So 25 millimeters. Select these three faces. So again, I want to subdivide that so my changes are a little more accurate. Click OK. So I've selected that edge. I want to go into Edit Form, drag it inwards, a distance of 10 millimeters. Now before I go on, we wanted to focus on design and the rows of the competition. One of the rows is a minimum of 3.5 millimeters between that cartridge and the outside surface. So keep that in mind. You can make some changes here, but they may not meet with the rules. I've selected that edge again. And I want to just change that by dragging that around counterclockwise. And I know I want a value of 70 degrees. Finish the freeform. And turn off the surface visibility so that plane is no longer visible. Now, I said that we need to think of both design and manufacturing. We can't manufacture those sharp corners on a CNC machine. I've been told it's a 6 millimeter cutting tool, so I want a radius of 3 millimeters in those corners. So I'm selecting 6 edges, 3 on one side and 3 on the other. You have to keep this in mind as you're designing your car. It has to be made. We're making something here, but we have to keep in mind the functionality of that machine. So that's good. Any more sharp edges? Yeah, I can see 4 more at least. So select 1, 2, and of course the other 2 on the other side. Third one and the fourth one. In this case, I'm going to make that fillet a bit larger. We'll make that 5 millimeters. One more to add, and that's on the front edge of the nose cone. So click Fillet, select that edge, make it quite a bit larger. We'll make it 7. These are easy to change later on if your design isn't quite meeting the criteria that you'd set out. Let's go back to the main assembly. And that's the design complete. So in this activity, we opened an existing F1 car assembly. We made some great modifications to the front and the rear wings, and we also modified the body. And throughout that process, we kept in mind the roles of the competition and how our design would impact the manufacture of it.